Hello, good morning, everyone. So let's have our daily briefing for today. And let's have a quick market recap on last Friday's data. All right, so first things we have the GDP data for UK monthly basis for the month of November. So the previous data was 0.1%, and the market forecast at 0.4%. And the release time last Friday was 3 p.m. And the actual data, it was 0.9%. So it beats the market forecast and the previous data. So the GDP for UK monthly base for the month of November was up for about 0.5%. So let us see what happened on British pound against the dollar. So this one is the initial effect 1 hour after the event. So the pound against the dollar moved in a range of 17 pips during the 1 hour following the event, and it ended with a bearish trend of 6.8 pips. So even though the data was better than the market expectations, but this one failed to create a move on the British pound against the dollar. Also, we have the retail sales for US monthly basis for the month of December. So the previous data was 0.3%, and it's forecasted to be much lower, around 0%. And the release time last Friday was 9:30 p.m. So the forecast was right. It's expected to be lower, below 0%, and the actual data was negative 1.9%. So obviously it's lower on the previous data. So this one is a bad data for the retail sales monthly basis for the month of December for US. And we also have the Michigan consumer sentiment for the month of January. So the previous data was 70.6 and the market forecast at 70.4. So same goes with the release time. It's 9:30 p.m. And the actual data, it was 68.8. So the Michigan consumer sentiment was lower comparing on the forecast and the previous data. So both data for US last Friday did not beat the market expectations, but surprisingly, this data did not create any volatility with all currencies that is paired with the dollar. Even gold, it failed to create any momentum 1 hour after the event. And as usual, for Monday and Tuesday, there's nothing much. So we don't expect any much data for some currencies, but we have to focus on the weekly US and European shares. So overall for this week, we only have majority will be on the US shares. So on Wednesday, January 19, 2021, we have the Bank of America Corporation, and we have the Proctor and Gamble, we have the United Airlines Holdings, and on Thursday, January 20, 2021, we have Netflix. Okay, so let's take a look on the charts of some stock here for the weekly earning based on the earnings calendar. So first is we have the Bank of America. So with this stock, so it's currently around the 47.91, 47.90 per share, even though the fair value is around the 63.51. So it means that there's a lot of room for buyers to penetrate this stock. But for this week, I will be focusing more on the 46.33 and 43.50 as its key support. And for the resistance, we have to take a look on the 50.67 and 52 per share, respectively. So during the last four sessions, the Bank of America is on the neutral momentum in the market since it's going up and it's going down, still around the 47.90. But in my own opinion, as I mentioned earlier, there's a lot of room for this stock to go up. So it means it's one of the attractive stock for buyers for this week. And we also have Netflix. So for Netflix, the current value is around the 525.69 per share. So even though the fair value was around supposedly around the 623 mark, so same goes with the Bank of America. This stock still has a room for buyers to penetrate. So for this week, I will be more focusing on the 516.22 per share for the support or the key support, since it created a move last session with this one. And also we have the 490.91 per share. And for the key resistance, we have to look on the 588.21 mark, and we have the 634.88 respectively. So next is we have the United Airlines holdings. So among all these stocks for this week, this stock price remains on its fair value around the 46.74 range. So with this one, I'm not expecting any much surprise for this stock, since it's currently in the fair value. But as you all know, the Nasdaq and both Nasdaq and New York Stock Exchange, there's some um, sudden news that can affect the stock, so we have to be very cautious as well, even though it's on the fair value. But for the weekly resistance, we have to take a look on the 48.53 and 49.70, and support at 45.36 and 43.32 respectively. And among all the stocks for this week based on the earnings calendar, in my own opinion, the most interesting stock for this week is we have the Proctor and Gamble. So the current value is around the 159.80 per share, and this one, it's actually way overvalued because the value should be around the 49.28 per share. So it means that if the current price is around the 159, there's a lot of room for sellers to penetrate this stock. So currently it's on the 159, close to 160. So it means the trend, if we're going to pay attention with this one, during a couple of sessions, the Procter and Gamble stock is on the downside. So it means that a lot of sellers are penetrating on the past sessions, but still, in my own opinion, still on the downside, or the trend for this one is on the downside for this week, since it's expected to be around the 49.28 per share, although it's way too far, but still, the stock share for the PNG still overvalued. But for this week, I will be more focusing on the 160 per share and 157.24, and the currency stands at 165.44 and 168 per share respectively. All right, so as I mentioned earlier, for Monday and Tuesdays, as usual, there's nothing much, but we have to focus on the weekly US shares majority. So we have to focus on those currencies, especially the PNG stock for this week. All right, thank you everyone for joining our daily briefing today. Stay safe and have a great day.